the cabin of the new Hyundai IONIQ 5, Hyundai's new battery electric vehicle. It arrived in Ireland in 2021. So in this video I want to show you 5 fab features of the new Hyundai IONIQ 5. So fab feature number 1 is design. This car is just so cool and futuristic looking. Hyundai class it as a CUV, which stands for crossover utility vehicle, and I'll give them that because it certainly doesn't look like an SUV from the outside and it doesn't feel like one from behind the wheel. It might have more in common with a hatchback, but it's more interesting than a hatchback to look at, and also it's got a more elevated ride height. So it does have more in common with a crossover, in fairness. I love the lighting of the car, it's so distinct, it's so futuristic. I love that pixelated rear light effect. There's loads of aerodynamic design features like an active air flap at the front, and there's an aerodynamic rear spoiler. You can get wheel sizes up to 20 inches. It's just super cool. It's next generation design as well as everything else under the skin, which I'm going to get to in this video. Fab feature number 2 is interior, and I think we need to talk a little bit about the size of the IONIQ 5. So it is bigger than a Hyundai Kona electric, for example. In fact, Hyundai places it somewhere between the Tucson and the Santa Fe, and the space inside the vehicle is more comparable to the Santa Fe. Now remember, Santa Fe is Hyundai's D-segment flagship SUV. So this is a considerably sized vehicle. It's got the visual presence of a big car when you meet it in the metal for the first time, but also inside. This almost lounge-like interior. It's very wide, and I've got all this space here around my feet. There's loads of storage. It's a very good use of space inside the vehicle because it was built on a dedicated electric vehicle platform, and they're always the best because they're built from the ground up for this to accommodate the battery pack in the most efficient manner. The quality is excellent. Everything feels really good to touch. It's probably the most premium we've seen from the Hyundai brand. The digital technology is on point. We've got a 12-inch screen here for the driver, and then another 12-inch screen for the infotainment. It works really well. The menus are easy to navigate and select what you want. I've got some physical buttons, shortcut buttons for the infotainment system, and also a physical dial for the volume. And then touch sensitive panel here for the ventilation controls, but it's actually pretty easy to use on the move as well. It's one of the better systems, I would say. I love the steering wheel. It's 2-spoke, and it's got this very enigmatic 4 dots to denote the new IONIQ sub-brand for Hyundai's new generation electric vehicles. Fab feature number 3 is battery. So obviously it's a battery electric vehicle, so it's all about the battery, and we have 2 batteries available here for IONIQ 5. There's the 58 kilowatt hour, which has a theoretical range of over 300 kilometers, and then the 72 kilowatt hour version, which has a theoretical range of over 400 kilometers. There's a single motor version that sends power to the rear wheels, and then a dual motor version that's all-wheel drive and top of the range with the best performance of the entire IONIQ 5 range. So I have here the 58 kilowatt hour version. It's single motor. It sends 170 horsepower to the rear wheels. There's 350 newton meters of torque. The performance is fine. I don't need to be thrown back in the seat every time I touch the accelerator. I'm cool with that. The battery performance is really good as well. So obviously range depends on things like the ambient temperature, your driving style, the speed you're driving at, but over 300 kilometers is possible with this car. Fab feature number 4 is charging. Not all electric vehicles are created equally when it comes to charging, so it's something you do need to investigate when you're going to buy an electric vehicle, because charging is everything, charging speeds. So the IONIQ 5, I'm happy to say, is one of the best on the market right now for charging. It has an 800 volt battery system as standard. Remember, this car has come to market from €38,000 in Ireland. And 800 volt battery systems, they're emerging. We're seeing them on some of the more elite electric vehicles like the Audi e-tron GT and the Porsche Taycan. But here it is on our IONIQ 5. It basically means better power retention and also faster charging rates. Obviously that depends on the infrastructure available to you. So for example, it can charge up to 220 kilowatt, but you'd have to find an IONITY charging station for that at the moment in Ireland, but you could add 80% battery charge in about 20 minutes. It's also compatible with 400 volt charging systems, so you go to your 50 kilowatt motorway charger and add about 80% battery power in about an hour. And then it's also got an 11 kilowatt onboard charger, so that makes all the difference in AC charging. So you could go to a 22 kilowatt public charge point in an Irish town and it's charging twice as fast as a lot of other EVs on the market. So yeah, it's really special, I have to say, this IONIQ 5, and it's all numbers, but it means something to real people's lives. So fab feature number 5 is Highway Drive Assist 2, a nice little technology feature. The Highway Drive Assist is standard on the IONIQ 5 range, but the level 2 is standard from premium and above, and it adds a little bit more assistance for the driver when changing lanes on the motorway. So obviously I had to talk about it. So basically, when I'm on the motorway and I activate the adaptive cruise control for particular speed, it'll keep me a safe distance from the car in front. It'll keep me in lane as well. And it will also, now when I go to overtake, when I indicate, it'll do all the checks. It's got a camera, it's got radar sensors, and it also uses GPS data in this feature. And it will move me into the overtaking lane. Will literally move the steering wheel. It's steering assistance, so theoretically it's safer, and I suppose it points to an autonomous driving future, so it was really cool to see it here in IONIQ 5. So that's all from the cabin of the Hyundai IONIQ 5. There is so much to talk about this car. It's so new, it's so fabulous, there's so much cool stuff with it, but I just had to pick 5 of my top features. So if you want to read more about this car, you can go over to changinglanes.ie, and I've left a link in the description below the video. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the IONIQ 5, what do you think of the video, and I'll see you soon.